Okay, Afriville was made of 80 families, 400 people at the time. Brenda calls it, what'd you call it?
Disbursement?
Yeah, not relocation, she said disbursement.
Yeah, they have that up there, the relocation, but they didn't take our community and just relocate us. You know, when we left us, everybody was spread all over the place. Some people went as far as the States, Ontario, Quebec. So, you know, the relocation story is a little bit confused. And I'll always say that it was a disbursement. And through that disbursement, we, Linda, myself, and Deborah Dixon Jones, who has passed away, formed the Afriville Genealogy Society. And the main reason for forming that society was to try to gather our people back for at least one time a year, that we could have a reunion, you know, and get familiar with our families, all the people, our community members that lived here in Halifax and lived in Afriville.
And not only that, the other purpose was to deal with past, present, and future affairs of Africa. So, Afriville was a self-sufficient community. It had 5 stores, a post office, the church, which was mainly the focus of the community. School, we had a school, a 2-room school at one time. They took that in 1953 and started busing us into the city. Wow. When you reached the age of 12, you had to start walking. So, yeah, so at least 4 times a day. So, morning, lunch back.
Oh, you have to go home for lunch.
And there was no snow days back then. The kids are lucky today, they got snow days. We traveled to school in all kinds of weather, bad snowstorms.
How long would you walk?
And,
Well, back and forth 4 times a day, 2 miles per which way.
Yeah.
yeah.
And our snow was up to our waist, because my sister and another lady of the community, they were the ones that made the first path, because they had to be at the work for 5 o'clock. There was no buses, so they walked to the hospital or to Stadacona. In 1948, they promised the people, it was written, it was approved, that they would get sewer and water. Never got them. Never got the top.
No, we didn't get it. There was a lot, you know, like for Afriville, the people, they were peace-loving people. They just, they didn't, they're very passive. And what they couldn't get or receive from the city, they did the best they could with what they had. They survived. They looked after their own families. The men and some women went out to work out in the city, and they looked after their families that way. We had some were porters on the railroad, got other government jobs, hospitals and things like that. They worked, they did domestic work. That's how they looked after their families. And we tried to keep, they tried to keep their community up, because they had everything, they tried to have everything in there that they could to keep their community together. Like they even had a hall where they would sometimes have plays in it, or dances, or whatever, some kind of community activity. So, we were a close-knit, community.
And you see that pump up there with the sense, bull, that came in the 60s. We didn't have to boil our water.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We had wells and we had free flowing springs at the well that water just flowed through. But Brenda will tell you about how we cleaned our wells at that time.
Yeah, so when it came to them saying that our wells were contaminated, it's not so, because the people had a solution of lime and water that they used to form, and after every rainfall or after every so many months, they would put this lime water, splash it into the water and on the rocks and things of the wells, and this purified our water. Nobody ever got sick at home. But you see, that was like Linda said, that was put out there in the 1960s, because this was the plan they had to move Afriville, out around that time. So they had to find some things to put up saying that this is the reason why we're going to move this community, and said we had slums. You see, you must have seen some of the houses and things that was on the pictures. The the beautiful colored colors of the houses. The black and white would make it look shabby because you're not seeing the true colors.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? And they had gardens, and they took care of their land. They took care of their property, and there was taxpayers there, and the elderly people. That's why they were trying to fight. We didn't have lawyers and stuff. The city only did what they wanted to do, just to save face. Because when they came out here to talk to the people of Africville, their plans was already made, what they planned to do with Africville. So whatever we said, it was already set in stone what they wanted to do.
And the people wanted a home for a home, not a house, a home for a home. And they said they couldn't do that. The only province was New Brunswick, not in Nova Scotia. The bridge, that was the other reason. They said the bridge was coming through Africa. But if you look at the bridge over this way, that's the new bridge. It only hit a small part of Africville. It did not come through.
So in that way, relocation could have taken place.
Yeah.
Right.
They could have relocated us right in our same community, just a little further down, fine and dandy, but we still would have been home.
Wow.
There was 2 sets of railroad tracks also, upper track and the lower. The lower track is still here, so the upper track is up. But when walking from around the turn where I live, where the container piers is, you would be walking on the train tracks, but you would have to get in between the 2 tracks. Because sometimes you wouldn't hear the train when it was coming, because you had to keep looking behind. Yeah, that's how. But they would have the box cars and the flat cars over here for months and months. And where I live, they said it was 15 tracks. I never even counted because I'm running across. And if the trains were stationed there, you either had to go over where they're connected or under to get to where you had to get the bus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our main focus was our church. On Sundays, we weren't allowed to skip, jump, or nothing because we were in church. If there was 11 o'clock service, we'd be there. Sunday school, we'd be there.
Yes.
3 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then Easter Sunday was our 5 o'clock. We'd be there 5 o'clock.
Sunrise service.
Maybe a few hours, yeah. So.
And there was like they cared about their young people. We had CGIT, we call it Canadian Girls in Training, right? We had all that for the children here. There was other churches further in the city, First Baptist Church, and them. They came out and they did activities like Vacational Bible School and things. And the kids in the city in the Africville at the time were really. We really had a lot of things that the adults had a lot of things going on, kept us busy with a lot of things. And so it's not like we were just here isolated because
You're
we did
building a
have
community.
interaction,
And not only, Africville wasn't all black community because the white families live here. There was a lady, she lived on Lady Hammer Road. She'd come down into the community and she would stay 30 days. My niece would take her back to her house. She would just wash, change her clothes, and come back for the next 30 days. There was people that came up and stayed drinking out here, and they stayed overnight. The man would come to my mother's and, Mrs., can I get a sandwich? They feed them. So.
And they used to want to do, like cut wood or do things around, clean up the yard for us and stuff like that, right? And they felt quite comfortable. Nobody locked their, our doors weren't locked on the dorm. Your doors weren't locked. If anybody knocked on your door, we opened the door to see, what was the problem. It was raining. I know my grandfather, one man came one time, he was soaking rain wet, and grandfather opened the door and let him in. And he went and found some clothes and changed his clothes. And he gave him a hot cup of tea and put him to bed for the rest of the night. This was like 2 o'clock in the morning. This is a sample of how, people were treated over here in Africa, right?
But there was a golden rule, so I didn't encounter a lot of racism when I grew up, because we weren't taught about color. We were just taught to treat people as you would want people to treat you. And that was the golden rule.
Scripture.
And that's what I use today.
Yeah.
And everybody wasn't related in the community, but the older people were called aunts and uncles.
Yes.
Right to the day, her children and my children. She's Aunt Brenda, my
Yes.
even to her grandchildren.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep.
or now I'm Nin or Nan.
Yeah.
Our Sister Soitzi. Never
Have you
come.
any questions?
What was your favorite childhood memory living here?
Favorite child. Favorite childhood memory was our summers and winters. In the summertime, we had an area up. We called it the Southwestern, and they used to play ball and do horseshoes and all kinds of activity around there. And around where Linda, you fellas also
We had
the
areas.
same thing. We did it all through Africville, right? And then the parents, the mothers especially, would at certain times get picnics together and take us down to Kildare's Field, which is further down in the park. There is an area down there, and we would go down there for a picnic. We would swim in the basin, right? And you're told you either swim and stay no, if you eat, you gotta stay with the water for 1 hour, right?
Yes.
So everybody
Still to
started up
this
there.
day.
We just want to get in the water. We'll eat later.
Yeah.
But then the pennywinkles, and we call them pennywinkles, but the periwinkles. And the mussels came up after the tide came in, and then it went up, and we could pick it off the shore. And we would cook it right there on the shore, right, Brenda?
Yeah, go next door. It was a lady that lived down there. We go down, get a bucket, but most of us used to bring our little pots and things down with us because we knew at the time we knew what we were going to do. And we cooked them right there on the shore and eat them there. Some of them would gather up some enough that when they go home, they can take them home and, eat them, right?
Wow.
And that was our summers. We had beautiful summers.
And we could blueberry pick and
Yes.
take the berries home, make blueberry pies or blueberry duff. We had strawberries and raspberries and blackberries and wild pear tree. We could eat them berries off the tree.
Yeah.
So, and as I said, the Bedford Basin was our swimming home. That's where we swam.
Yeah.
So we had great times, yeah.
So I love food. So, is there any food that was indigenous to Africville, like a special dish you made, Sunday dinner? What was that like?
Corned beef and cabbage.
Hey. That's where it comes from. My mom opened Corned beef and cabbage.
Salt herring and turbot fish. Oh yeah, those were the dishes.
Look at the smile on your face.
The joy. That's true joy. What you say?
Because there was a slaughterhouse right in Africville around where I live. It was wooden.
That's where it
And
comes
we
from.
used, that's where they slaughtered the animals, the ones that still rid on, you better run. So eventually they built a concrete one with salt, water. I don't know what they did for water when they had the old buildings, but they built them, and some of the guys worked there too. But that's where the tripe.
Tripe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Beef tongue.
Yeah.
I'm telling
hey,
you.
this is our West.
And I still search for tripe and beef tongue today, and it's hard to get, I tell
It's
you.
hard to get it. It's hard to
Yes,
get it.
and you know what? My mother used to cook sheep head and pig head and
Make the cheese.
make the cheese,
cheese.
head cheese and stuff like that. I'll tell you nothing like it.
Wow.